Hey guys, good morning. I'm down here back to that original small little SysPort organization thing that I built underneath my miter station cabinet thing, whatever you want to call it. So, it's nothing special, but I told you guys I was going to show you once I got my rails, how to install the rails and how easy they are to put the sustainers in. And I'm going to put some trim around here to make it look a little nicer. I do have some leftover trim that I used for my my bigger SysPort that I'm building. But anyways, I wanted to do this kind of real time just to show you guys how easy and quick these rails are to install for your sustainers. It's really, really simple. So if you want to fast forward this install, go ahead. It's just going to be me simply installing these, but just to show you how fast they are to put in. One item to note, I am not using the LR32 system or shelf pinholes for this. What I did was prior to me I put my sustainers in the sizes that I thought would work. So I don't want to say it's going to be a permanent solution, but if I do ever want to change sizes of my sustainers in either one of these cabinets, I will have to drill new holes because I don't have any pre-existing shelf holes to use. So that's one item to note. The other item to note is, again, and I mentioned this a while back, these particular rails do not allow you to actually access the inside of the sustainer if it's on the bottom. So that is one of the main flaws of these rails versus building your own drawers or buying the Festool Sys AZ drawers. Those actually pull all the way out and you can access the interior of the sustainer with those. With these rails, you cannot, and I'll show you, they do not pull out all the way. But my intentions for these and for the main SysPort that I'm building, these aren't going to be for my everyday tools that I use every day that I need to keep, getting in and out of, grabbing every 5 minutes. This is mainly for storage and mainly for items that I have in cabinets or in my Husky toolbox that I don't use a lot of. So therefore, I don't necessarily need to keep getting in and out of it. I've got some Sys AZ drawers that I bought underneath my MFT cabinet for tools that I use a lot. As well as up here above my miter saw station, I built my own drawers for some sustainers that I can pull all the way out. But anyway, this is just me showing you guys how easy it is to install these things. So let's get started. Well, I start with the first set of rails directly on the base of the cabinet. And line up the front edge of these rails, in my opinion, with the front edge of your carcass, because there is going to be a 3/4 inch trim over all the front of this, so these are going to technically be inset back 3/4 of an inch once I get the trim on. And I am using 5/8 inch coarse 5/8 inch coarse pan head screws, because this is MDF and it gets a little soft. So again, so line up these things with the front of your carcass. And there's one. Sorry if my head's in the way. And there's two. So the way that I have this sustainer built is I am putting this one down here, which is a Sys 187, and then to go on top of that, I use a 1/4 inch piece of plywood. So as a spacer, I use 1/4 inch piece of plywood. You have to leave, I believe 1/4 is about the most minimum amount you can use, because you have to have room for the sustainer on top to be able to kind of tilt out. If you don't leave enough gap, then it's that the top sustainer is going to get hung up on the one below it. I hope that makes sense. So a 1/4 inch piece, flush on top, put your rail, flush against the carcass on the front. Then scoot this over, or if you have a big enough piece, you don't have to even do that. Put the other rail on the other side, line it up on the edge. Get a couple of screws. I only use 2 screws. You can use up to 4. I don't see the need for that many. I'm not putting a whole lot of weight in these things, but okay. So here I have another 187 Systainer. Get it lined up. There we go. For the top guy, rinse and repeat. Scoot that over to the side. Now I have the smallest Gen 3, which is the 112, which you guys might know as just the Sys 1 in previous generations. There you go, guys. So all three, that's how quick it is to install these. I mean, once you get going, you can just knock out a ton of them. So I'm going to go over to this other side and do the same thing. Okay, and my idea on this side cabinet is I've got two of these bigger 237 Systainers. I'm keeping a bunch of my saw stop accessories, my push blocks, my brakes for my saw stop, my extra throat inserts, just a bunch of stuff in here. But again, so I've only decided to put two 237 Systainers in this cabinet right here. What I'm going to do is instead of using this 1/4 inch piece of plywood, I'm going to use a 3/4 inch because I don't want to have a huge gap up top. So to kind of make it look a little nicer, I'm just going to use a piece of 3/4 inch MDF to act as my spacer here. And again, I'm only doing that just so I don't have a lot of space up top when I'm done, because I laid this out and so I know how much space I'm going to have. Okay, that's literally as fast as this project goes to install these rails. So again, you know, the storage idea is not for everyone. You can argue that it doesn't hold as much, and it doesn't. But I prefer to use the Systainer system. I think it's fairly quick and easy. Not the most economical by any means, but I like it. But that's just how quick these new rails are. Now, let me show you what I was talking about, though, as far as if you want to access this Systainer. That's as far as this pulls out. So I cannot access inside the Systainer with it being in the middle. I have to take it all the way out and then get into it. That's the main downside to this system. But again, I'm not using this for tools that, or anything that I'm going to use a lot of. That wouldn't make sense. So just keep that in mind with these. They're, you know, unlike the Sys AZ drawers or, you know, your DIY drawers, they don't come out all the way. So that's how you install these new Gen 3 Systainers with the new Gen 3 rails. And the other really important measurement, that really the only thing that you need to know, 16 3/8 of an inch inside to inside. That's the space that you need to install the Gen 3s with the rails. Depth wise, you can 14.5, 15 inches, whatever the depth of these Systainers is, I can't remember, but 16 3/8 of an inch is your most important measurement that you need to know if you want to build a carcass. So anyway, let's get some trim on this thing and make it look finished. Okay, guys, that's it. Nothing pretty by any means, but I just wanted to put some trim over the edges of that MDF to protect it and to, I don't know if you guys noticed, I had a couple of domino holes that somehow got there. I'm not sure what happened, but they just showed up, so I wanted to cover those up. But anyway, it's shop furniture. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be pretty. But anyway, so this is how I revamped my underneath my miter station cabinet. Hopefully it works out. We'll see in the future, but that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.